What's up, guys? It's Steve Cardenas, aka Rocky the Red Power Ranger, and you are watching Smart Tank Revolution.
And welcome back to the Smart Tank Revolution, where we always kick out at 2. I am your host, the benevolent, intelligent Mr. Donnie Wonderful, aka Big Time Donnie, back at you with another one. Now, you have to excuse the AC. It's the summer, crying out loud, 90 degrees. I'm not trying to be baking in my own home, not at all. But I wanted to plug this microphone up and share some thoughts with our lovely supporters, and thank you to all the new subscribers and all those that like our videos and comment on the videos. We love interacting with you. But we just released the video before this. My esteemed colleague, Mr. Joey Business, did a great job with breaking down the main event and its significance from last Saturday's AEW collision, CM Punk and Samoa Joe. If you haven't had a chance to listen to that, please go back and listen to that. It's probably going to be one of the videos that appear after, as this one is ending. But and of course, we do everything off the cuff. I don't have the reference with me, but this past weekend I was in Atlanta, Georgia, at a family reunion, and I happened to get a recommendation from YouTube that reminded me how great this rivalry actually was. And that is the rivalry, the trilogy I'm referring to. FTR versus the Briscoe brothers. Standing ovation. Now, I could just be a prisoner of the moment because I remember as it happened. And this is, I would like to say, maybe about 2021. So, just for an estimation, this is less than 24 months old. It's probably between 18 and 24, around that mark. From when they first had their when they first locked up for the ROH tag titles. Now, I mentioned being a prisoner of the moment. I'm going to leave a link to the video, and they did a great job. And please forgive me, I can't remember the name of the channel right now, but it is in the link will be in the description box, where they did a compilation. So you have the promos that the Briscoes did, everything leading up to the match, and there's some jump cuts in it, but it is a beautiful video. Oh, it is a beautiful video. And now obviously of course, unfortunately, Jay Briscoe, aka Jay Bugh, passed away earlier this year in January. But it's one of those pieces. It's a legacy piece. It is a true legacy piece, and I think it did him justice. And I've been a fan of the Briscoe brothers for a long time. I thought, I have to echo Jim Cornette and Brian last year. Well, more so Jim Cornette, when around last year he was saying that FTR was the greatest tag team in wrestling. I believe that now. My colleague Joey Business can attest to that. Right next to them were the Briscoe brothers. I love their style. I love, the Delaware Sandy Fork. I love the look. Everything about the Briscoes was a home run to me. It was the 3-point shot. Even their promos. It's them, and it's what we don't get over on Vince's side of the pond, and especially with this build up here, because they clearly had the freedom to respond the way that they wanted to respond. and the way that this video was positioned. And I remember when it was happening, like they mentioned that it was a dream match for a reason. Like, this is what wrestling needs, man. It's what wrestling needs. Like those, just going back and watching those promos. Man, especially one in particular that stand out. The more recent one, the Briscoes promo where they're calling out FTR for the third time, giving them their kudos for beating them twice. But when this was ahead of was it Final Battle? I believe it's Final Battle. The dog collar match. Just wrestlers cutting the camera on and they're talking about their opponents. No forced emotion. That's just them being them, the real people. I think that's what we all need. And to think that this pairing, all of this happened from Twitter. This is amazing. This, like, the origin story of this trilogy, of this feud, was absolutely amazing, in my opinion. Now, to make this point, finally, being a prisoner of the moment, even then and now, I challenge any of my listeners and even my esteemed colleague, Mr. Joey Business, find me a better trilogy of matches. Find me a better trilogy or three-peat rivalry within the last 2 years that can rival FTR versus the Briscoes. Promos are great. The build-up was great. Well, this one, listen, finding a better build-up to this will be difficult. I mean, you're better off exploring Antarctica for civilization. What I said, the promos, the build up, the actual wrestling and how they delivered. I mean, that last dog collar match where the, spoiler alert, where the, if you haven't, if you're not up to speed with that trilogy, just check out the link in the description box that's going to have it all laid out. Cancel that spoiler alert. But that has been praised. That tag team dog collar match has been praised as the greatest dog collar match of all time. And you got everything you needed there. You had the blood, the finish. Oh man, that was such a good finish. That was such a good finish. You guys, you know what? You guys got to see it. You guys have to see it. Now, don't get me wrong. Over in Stamford, Titan Towers. Not saying that they haven't produced classics. I mean, come on now. I'm a wrestling guy. We're Smarks, hence the channel's name. But I mean, like, do you have something where... Never mind, time out. Okay, so to rival that, I would say... Would you guys say that Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins last year, is that equal, greater to, or greater than, or up to par with the Briscoes versus FTR? As far and again, the promos, the build up, and the matches, the execution. On the WWE side, that's what I think of. That can be an honorable mention, but is it better? Now, I can tell you what could have been better, or what could have been comparable, and something that definitely should have happened. FTR would have been involved in 2 of them. It should have been FTR and the Young Bucks. We were all clamoring for that. But this type of fantasy matchups is the reason why we should all yearn to see even more. And in the perfect world, where everyone does the Rodney King and we all get along, cross promotion, I don't know how that would work. But can you guys imagine, and I know they were there at the same time, can you guys imagine what FTR versus the Usos would be at a WrestleMania right now? Can you guys imagine how many super kicks would occur with the Usos versus the Young Bucks? You know? Can you guys imagine Kenny Omega versus Seth freaking Rollins? I mean, it just has to be that way. You know, like that would be, those would be the fantasy matchups that we would love to see, and they would kick off in true, genuine form, similar to the way the Briscoes and FTR did. You know, how about a year and a half with proper booking, with intelligent booking? Can you guys imagine Roman Reigns versus a properly developed and built Wardlow? You know, comparable, you know, and Lord knows MJF versus anybody on that roster. Come on now. Come on. Oh, shoot. MJF versus John Cena. I would love, not even the match. The match would be great, actually. I'm sorry. The match would be great, but I'd have my eyes glued to the television and my ears open for those promos. Come on, man. This is fun. This is what makes wrestling fun. And it takes me back to the old mid-90s during the Monday Night Wars, where we would argue in school who was better, WCW or WWF, WWF or WCW, you know, whatever. Then ECW came, and there was a whole bunch of people that you saw in one promotion to funnel their way through the promotions. We got to finally see those matches we wanted, you know? Like, I was a huge fan of Chris Jericho when he was Lionheart. The first time I seen him was 1996, 7 in WCW. And this is right around the time, in my opinion, or from my recollection, Chris Jericho and Triple H have always been on an even keel to me. They both had the long blonde hair back then, so, like, you know, they were always kind of comparable. And this is back when Triple H was the rich snob, and he didn't wear the trunks tights. He wore the long pants. And I said, man, those two would be great. And when it finally happened, when those worlds collided in WWE, I was very satisfied. You know, same thing with what I got for WrestleMania 19 when Chris Jericho wrestled Shawn Michaels. You know, I'm telling you, man, those 90s and the early 2000s, Chris Jericho, that Chris Jericho, and I know I'm going on a tangent. Well, hell, this is the channel where we're all tangential tyrants here. But Chris Jericho has had multiple primes. And that pocket, that ECW, WCW, early WWE, that pocket of Chris Jericho could do no wrong. And we were able to get those. But now with social media, reference FTR versus the Briscoes, and the video in the description box covers it all, and it does and they do a phenomenal job. Kudos to you guys. I wanted to plug this mic on. Enough talking to me. Enough talking to me. Here are your marching orders, STR supporters. Okay, the first thing you're gonna do, if you're not already subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Let's get our numbers up. We're almost close to 1,000, man. We're almost close to a K. A G. Let's get that. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to like the video. The next thing you should do is you should comment on this video answering my question that I dared you all to answer. Is there another, trilogy of matches that's comparable to FTR versus the Briscoes in execution of the match, the build-up, and the promos, the realness, whatever the case may be? I said over the last 18 to 24 months, let's just blow it up. Let's just say of all time, because we have some smart supporters, and you guys and gals put me on to some new stuff every time, for the most part, in our comments. So I'm interested and curious to hear your remarks in your rebuttals. And the last thing you should do, well, not the last thing, but the one thing that you should definitely do is go down to that description box. And I want you guys for those who are unaware of this trilogy, go click that link and watch that video. It's about 90 minutes, about an hour and a half, but you will be entertained. Again, thanks for listening. This is Donnie Wonderful signing off. Until the next one.